Tamattu. And that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam advised the companion if they come the year after to do Hajj Al-Tamattu. And of course, we're going to talk about the different type of Hajj, the difference between Hajj Al-Tamattu, Hajj Al-Quran, and Hajj Al-Ifrad. 90% of the Muslim, I would say, they will do Hajj Al-Tamattu. And the rest of them will do Hajj Al-Quran. People from Saudi Arabia, they will do Hajj Al-Ifrad, which you don't have to do sacrifice. So we'll move on, inshallah. This is a typical crowd in Hajj. Of course, everybody wants to be there at the time of Hajj. And Hajj is, subhanallah, one of the greatest action of worship. For non-Muslim to become a Muslim, this is the greatest action for them. But for the Muslim, the greatest action of worship is Hajj. Because we all know Hadith Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he says, لا جزاء للحج المبرور إلا الجنة. The reward for the Hajj al-Mabrur and the acceptable Hajj is Jannah. And none of the worship, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had that kind of reward except for Hajj. You got to realize also that, subhanallah, out of the 5 pillars of Islam, you have Shahadat anna la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. You have to say that every day. Praying, you have to do that. Iqamat Salah, you have to pray every single day. You cannot pray for 5 weeks and say, this is it, I'm done with this pillar and I'm good with it. Fasting Ramadan, you have to fast all your life unless you're a traveler or you have a sickness or some kind of excuse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated those excuses in Quran. Zakah, if you don't have money, you don't do zakah, but if you have money, you have to do zakah. And that's all your life. Hajj is the only one in only 5 to 6 days. You can reach what you can do with the other ibadah. So subhanallah, it's gonna be tough. Yes, of course, it's gonna be tough. It required physical activity. It required concentration. It required to be very, very patient in that crowd, especially in a crowd like that. You will find some brothers from different countries using their elbows to keep their space around them. Subhanallah, take that as sadaqah. Try to sacrifice your body in Hajj for the sake of Allah. And this is the only ibadah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked you to take off a lot of freedom for that ibadah. In a way that your degree of freedom is absolutely limited to in terms of time and place and action. Not only time, you can pray anywhere in the world. The action is known, but you can pray, and the time is known, but you can pray anywhere in the world. You can fast anywhere in the world. You can do zakah anywhere in the world. But Hajj, your degree of freedom is absolutely limited. You only have to do in Mecca, you have to be in Mecca, you have to be in Arafah on the 9th of the Hijjah. If you are not there on the 9th of the Hijjah, there is no Hajj for you. And this is a pillar of Hajj. We're going to talk about the difference between the pillars of Hajj, the obligatory act of Hajj, and the sunan of Hajj very shortly. But just, we're giving an introduction now. So in Hajj, your degree of freedom is absolutely limited. You left your job behind, you left your kids behind, and you're going there even with your clothes. You left it behind for men. And there was 2 sheets of clothes, two towels. You cover yourself, and you're submitting yourself totally for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked you to do. And in the places that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked you to go. And at the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked you to perform those ritual and worships. So subhanallah, with that, you will feel the total freedom, inshallah, when you submit totally to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is the purpose of our creation, subhanallah. We'll move on. We'll talk about the kind kinds of Hajj. And subhanallah, very quickly in Medina, we was leaving Medina heading to Mecca, and one of the brothers was missing. So I was looking for him in the miqat, and we're going to talk about miqat in a little bit. And I see another brother comes to me and asking me, that is a brother that I don't know, asking me what should I say? And I don't know him. I just met him. I said, what do you mean, what should you say? He asked me, I wanted to say labbaik Allahumma labbaik or labbaik Allahumma bi umrah. I don't know. I said, I don't know what kind of Hajj you're doing. And subhanallah, he didn't know there is different type of Hajj. He was wondering when I told him what type of Hajj you're doing. So this is our obligation to know and to learn as much as we can before we go to Hajj. So there is 3 types of Hajj. Hajj Al-Tamattu, and all of us will be doing Hajj Al-Tamattu. And basically, we will be doing Umrah and then going outside the state of Ihram and then doing Hajj, inshallah. So in between, that's Tamattu. And because of that, we have the animal sacrifice, because you're coming and doing Umrah and Hajj in one trip. The second Hajj is Hajj Al-Qaran, and that's exactly as shown in the picture next to it on the right side. You will do Hajj and Umrah combined. So when you start your intention for Ihram, you'll say labbaik Allahumma umratan wa hajja. You combine them. But in Hajj Al-Tamattu, when you be leaving Medina, for those who are going to Medina first, we will be saying labbaik Allahumma bi umrah. You never mention anything about Hajj. Labbaik Allahumma bi umrah. And then on the 8th of the Hijjah, you will wear your Ihram clothes again, and you will say labbaik Allahumma hajjan. So this is totally different and totally separate intention. But in Hajj Al-Quran, you will have your intention together. None of us will be doing Hajj Al-Quran, and then Hajj Al-Ifrad, you will only be doing Hajj. Rasulullah says, "Khudu anni manasikakum." Follow me in Hajj. Follow my footsteps in Hajj. Do as I did. So Rasulullah did Hajj Al-Quran, but he asked his companion to do Hajj Al-Tamattu, and the Hajj Al-Tamattu is the best type of Hajj, as Rasulullah informed us. So Tamattu, we will have the intention for Umrah, and then at the 8th of the Hijjah, we will have the intention for Hajj. What does that mean in technicality? We're going to talk about it in just a little bit. So we're going to go step by step, how to do Umrah and how to do Hajj. A very quick overview. I hope all of you can see the screen here, and I did send it by email to all my brothers and sisters. Kind of an overview of Hajj Al-Tamattu. You will arrive in Mecca, for those who go to Mecca first, or for us who are going to go to Medina first, inshallah. As we leave in Medina, we will be heading to perform the Umrah. So the only intention that when we do the Ihram is the intention for Umrah, because we're doing Hajj Al-Tamattu. And then we will go and do the Tawaf, and then do 2 rak'ah. We'll pray 2 rak'ah behind Maqam Ibrahim. Maqam Ibrahim, you can see it around Kaaba. And then drink from Zamzam, and then go to Sa'i to do the Safa and Marwa. With that, your Umrah is done. And then you have to cut your hair or shave your hair. My advice to my brothers is to cut their hair at this time and save the shaving for Hajj. Then you wear your normal clothes and you enjoy the time between the Umrah and the Hajj. On the 8th of the Hijjah, you will wear your Ihram clothes from your place in Mecca. You don't have to go to miqat or anything. You don't have to go outside Mecca. From your place in Mecca, make the intention for Hajj with your Ihram clothes, and we will proceed to Mina. Inshallah, on the 9th, we're going to stay at the 8th of the Hijjah in Mina. And we will pray Dhuhr 2 rak'ah qasr in its time, Asr 2 rak'ah qasr in its time, and Maghrib 3 rak'ah, and Isha 2 rak'ah qasr in its time. And then we go in the morning, we pray Fajr prayer, and then after sunshine, after sunrise, we'll be heading to Arafat, inshallah, on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. We'll stay in Arafat all day till after sunset. In Arafah, we will pray Zuhr prayer 2 rak'ah and the Asr prayer 2 rak'ah Qasr, Jam' Taqdeem. That means that we will pray Zuhr 2 rak'ah and right after that we will pray Asr 2 rak'ah right after Dhuhr, leaving the rest of the day for Zikr and Dua. There is no time for chit-chatting. You know, you're going to see people that chit-chatting and time will pass by and they didn't make Dua. Subhanallah. This is the time to make Dua. The time of Arafah is a time of Dua, not the time of chit-chatting. Concentrate. You never know if you're going to be there again or not. We never know if you're going to be there this year, actually. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allahumma ballighna Arafat. Allahumma ballighna Arafat, bi'ishnillah. And then, after we stayed all day in Arafah, after sunset, we will be heading towards Muzdalifah. It will probably take, for the buses to come and all, it will probably take 2 to 3 hours after the sunset. What does that mean? That means that the Isha Adhan will be on during the time that we're still in Arafah. But you don't pray Maghrib and Isha in Arafah at all. You have to pray it in Muzdalifah. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did that and he said, خُذُوا عَنِّي مَنَاسِكَكُمْ, and we're following the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The 10th of Dhul Hijjah, when we finish Arafah, we're going to go to Muzdalifah. We're going to pray Muzdalifah, Maghrib and Isha. Qasr, Maghrib 3 rak'ah and the Isha 2 rak'ah. This is the first thing we do in Muzdalifah once we got to Muzdalifah. Muzdalifah, there is no tents in Muzdalifah. And that's for everybody. I don't care if you have 20-star package or 1-star, all of us, we only have the no, absolutely no tents. You might have your sleeping bag with you from the tents in Mina. When we go to Mina, you're gonna find sleeping bags. So you might take it with you and return it to the tents because you don't want to go back to the tents without sleeping bags. So take it with you if you want, or if you want to buy a cheap one that you can use it in Muzdalifah and throw it away after you're done, you can do that as well. We stay in Muzdalifah till we pray Fajr prayer, and then we head towards Mina to throw the Jamarat on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. And after we throw the Jamarat, we go to Kaaba to do Tawaf al-Ifada, and then we return back to Mina. We have to stay in Mina for the 2 days after that, which is the 11th and the 12th of Dhul Hijjah. This is wajib, and we're going to talk a little bit about the wajib and rukn and everything else. And before we go, we have to do tawaf al-wada'. This is another wajib. This is another obligatory act of Hajj. So the summary of Umrah is ihram, tawaf, sa'i, and then halq or taqsir, and you're done. Very simple. Ihram, meaning wearing the ihram clothes and having the ihram intention. Wearing the ihram clothes from the miqat is one of the obligatory acts of Hajj. But having the intention for Umrah, this is one of the pillars of Umrah and one of the pillars of Hajj as well. When you do Hajj, when you have the intention for Hajj, you know, that's one of the pillars. If you don't have the intention, you don't have Hajj. So make sure that you have your intention clear. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to labbaik Allahumma umrah, or when you do the Hajj, labbaik Allahumma hajjan la riya'a fihi wa la sum'a. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the Hajj or Umrah to be purely and sincerely for the sake of Allah and following the beautiful sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Umrah is very simple. Ihram, tawaf, we'll do tawaf around Kaaba. You must have wudu when you do tawaf. So for example, after you do tawaf, 2 rak'ah, you do 2 rounds around Kaaba, and then you lose your wudu. You have to go and make wudu and come back and continue on. You start with the third. So, and you have to start with the black stone and end with the black stone. So if you have two circulation and then during the third one, you lost your wudu and you go out, when you come back, you start as if you're starting the third one from the beginning. And then when you finish, you pray 2 rak'ah behind Maqam Ibrahim, and then drink from Zamzam, and go to Safa and Marwa. You start with Safa and end in Marwa. We're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. And then cut your hair or trimming the hair or shaving the head for men, trimming the hair for men and for our sisters as well. Usually they cut their hair, and please do not do it. Do not uncover your hair when you reach Safa. A lot of sisters do that. They uncover their hair and let the other sister cut a fingertip, fingertip size. So don't do that. Do it when you go back to the hotel. Pillars of Umrah. The Umrah has 3 pillars. Ihram, and when I say Ihram here, it means the intention for Ihram. The intention for Ihram. That's one of the pillars. And Tawaf 7 times around Kaaba, and then Sa'i between Safa and Marwa 7 times. So you start from Safa, you end at Marwa, and then back to Safa. So from Safa to Marwa, that's 1. From Marwa to Safa, that's another 1. That's number 2. And then again from Safa to Marwa is number 3, and so on and so forth till you finish number 7 and you are done. And then you go and cut your hair or trim your hair. So what is the obligatory acts of Umrah? Ihram from outside Haram, meaning that Ihram from the Miqat. Miqat, this is a boundary around the Haram. So if you're coming from Egypt, for example, your boundary is actually before you reach Jeddah. So if you think you're gonna get, when you got to Jeddah, you will wear your ihram clothes. If you're heading to Mecca first, you're wrong. You have to wear your ihram clothes before you got to Jeddah, not in Jeddah. If you reach Jeddah and you are not wearing ihram clothes, that means you have to have one of the 3, either a sacrifice because you missed one of the obligatory acts of Umrah or Hajj. You have to have a sacrifice or feed 6 poor people or fast 3 days when you go back to your country. So now we're going to talk about the steps of Hajj. First of all, Ihram. So that's Ihram, that wearing the Ihram clothes and the intention for Ihram. For the sister that came late and didn't understand the difference between the type of Hajj, we're doing Hajj Al-Tamattu. Hajj Al-Tamattu, we're doing Umrah and then doing Hajj. We're having the intention for Umrah first, and we say Labbaik Allahumma bi Umrah, and then when we finish Umrah, we wear our regular clothes, and then on the 8th of the Hijjah, we have the intention for Hajj, and we'll say Labbaik Allahumma Hajj. So they have 2 different intentions, and in between there is time of enjoyment. So we can wear our ihram, we can wear our normal clothes. For the sisters, they can wear their normal clothes even during the ihram because they don't have any special ihram clothes. For the brothers, we have to wear the 2 towels. The 2 towels. So that's special. So in between, it's a big difference if we go back to our normal clothes. So the ihram, and then Mina on the 8th of the Hijjah, we stay in Mina. On the 9th of the Hijjah, we stay in Arafah. At the 9th of the Hijjah at night, we go to Muzdalifah. In Mina, and we go back to Mina on the 10th of the Hijjah, and that's the first day of Eid. On the 10th of the Hijjah, we're going to go to Mina for throwing the Jamarat. And this is the ritual that we do. Rami al-Jamarat, the sacrifice, and the Halq, and Mecca back to, on the 10th of the Hijjah, to do Tawaf al-Ifada. This is one of the pillars of Hajj. and then al-sa'i between the Safa and Marwa, and then back to Mina the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th of the Hijjah. I would say most of the Hujjaj, they leave on the 12th. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ تَعَجَّلَ فِي يَوْمَيْنِ فَلَا إِثْمٌ عَلَيْهِ. If you hurry in 2 days, there is no harm, there is no sin. So the 2 days that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala meant, that the 11 and the 12. So you can stay the 11 and 12 and go back to Mecca. Some people choose to stay the 13th as well in Mina. It's up to them. And what we're going to do in Mina during those 2 days, we're going to go and throw the Jamarat. And there is 3 of the Jamarat that we have to throw. The big one, the middle one, and the small one. And we have to do it in order. So, and for each one is 7 Jamarat. So if you calculate with me, on the 11th we have 777, so that's 21 Jamarat on the 11th. On the 12th is the same thing, 777. So that's another 21. So total is 42 so far. And the first day of Eid we only have the big one, 7 for the big one only. And the number will be 49. So 49 Jamarat. If you wanted to collect it during our time in Muzdalifah at night, go ahead and do that. Last day in Mecca, we're going to do Tawaf al-Wada. I know I'm going fast, but you know, we're going to go over that again. So be patient with me. The pillars of Hajj. The pillars of Hajj is Ihram. The intention. Number 1 is the intention for Ihram. This is one of the pillars of Hajj. Believe it or not. Intention. Your intention for Ihram is very important. Your intention for Ihram is one of the pillars of Hajj. Standing in Arafat, another pillars of Hajj. What does that mean? That if you didn't go to Arafat, you didn't do Hajj. You missed the Hajj. Tawaf al-Ifada is one of the pillars of Hajj. This is a tawaf we do typically the first day of Eid, or maybe you can do it during your stay in Mecca after that till you leave. You can delay it if you want to, if you're tired or so. But Tawaf al-Ifada is one of the pillars of Hajj. And of course, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa is one of the pillars of Hajj. So, as you notice, it's 4 of them is one of the pillars of Hajj. And 7 of them is the obligatory acts of Hajj. So 7 obligatory acts of Hajj, and 4 is the pillars of Hajj. Subhanallah. So when you think about the obligatory acts of Hajj, is Ihram from the Miqat, meaning that you wear Ihram clothes from the Miqat. What about if you didn't do it from the Miqat? Then you have to do one of the 3 things. Either to have a sacrifice, or you fast 3 days when you go back to your country, or you feed 6 poor people there. You can buy 6 shawarma and give it to the poor people in Mina that they don't have tents. And you're going to see a lot of people, they don't have even tents or anything. They're sleeping in the street. And they are very happy. They're probably happier than the people that are in the tents. And you're going to be wondering why. Because they submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they're happy they are there. Spend 1 night in Muzdalifah after Arafat. If you didn't do that, this is one of the obligatory acts of Hajj. Stay overnight in Mina during the days of Tashriq. What is the days of Tashriq? It's the 11, the 12, the 13 of the Hijjah. The calendar, the lunar calendar month of the Hijjah. The 11, the 12, the 13, this staying overnight in Mina is one of the obligatory acts of Hajj. Stoning the Jamarat and in order, meaning that, you know, in order the small and then the middle and then the big one. You have to do it in order. You cannot do it otherwise. This is one of the obligatory acts of Hajj. Shaving or cutting your hair. This is one of the obligatory acts of Hajj. And finally, Tawaf al-wada' or the farewell tawaf. So 7 plus 4 is 11. Just to remember, 7, 11. 7 obligatory acts of Hajj and 4 arkan of Hajj. So 7 obligatory acts of Hajj and 4 pillars of Hajj. During the state of Ihram, and what I mean by the state of Ihram, that you started your intention for Ihram, there is some restriction that you should be aware of. First of all, shaving or trimming the hair. So once you start your intention for Ihram, you cannot cut your hair. Because if you cut it, it will take you outside the state of Ihram. Trimming your nail, so that's why before you go into the state of Ihram, trim your nail before you go in. And wearing a t-shirt, for example, for men, that takes you outside. That's one of the prohibited acts of Ihram during the state of Ihram. Or covering your hair. If you have a hat or something, you don't do that during the state of Ihram. Do not cover your head. Some brothers, they forgot and they put the one of the towels covering their head with. If they did it unintentionally, that's fine. But if they did it intentionally, then they have to have one of the 3 things: sacrifice or this or that, as we mentioned, 3 days fasting or feeding 6 people, 6 poor people. Perfume. You put perfume, actually this is sunnah, to put perfume before you go into the state of Ihram. And you don't put the perfume on the sheets of towel. You put it, and that's for men only. You know, for sisters, you don't want to put perfume in Hajj, right? Only brothers. You can put perfume on your body, but not on the clothes. Before you go into the state of Ihram. Once you are in the state of Ihram, you don't do that. You stay away completely from the perfume. Number 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, I understood. You know, we are not going to hunt anything in there. And I don't think any of us are going to get married in there or looking for a spouse. One of the very important things that if you have your wife with you, the intercourse. There is no intercourse. This is one of the most difficult things in Hajj. During the state of Ihram, you don't foreplay with your spouse or or intercourse at all. That's very, very important. Very, very important. Okay, Tawaf al-Qudum. There is something special about Tawaf al-Qudum because you have to uncover your right shoulder. For men, of course. We don't want sister to uncover the right shoulder. Only brothers, inshallah, will uncover the right shoulder, and that's what I call al-ittiba'. And as you see it here under the tawaf, there's 2 things. Al-ittiba', and that's uncovering the right shoulder during the 7th round around Kaaba, when you first arrived at Kaaba. And then al-raml, meaning that the speed walking for the first 3 rounds of Kaaba. So you have something in the first 3 rounds circulating the Kaaba, and that's called al-raml. And al-ittiba', that uncovering the right shoulder during the first 7th round around Kaaba, and then praying after you finish the tawaf, you pray 2 rak'ah behind the maqam Sayyidina Ibrahim and drink from Zamzam after that. Before Tawaf al-Qudum, this is the arrival tawaf. Of course, being to your Kaaba being to your left. I think if you circulating around Kaaba the wrong way, you will know right away because everybody will be going the other direction. You will go and start with the black stone. That's where you start. And in Tawaf al-Qudum, the arrival Tawaf alone, you have to uncover the right shoulder. Once you finish, you cover it and you continue your Hajj. You will see other brothers uncovering the right shoulder all throughout Hajj. All Hajj is uncovering the right shoulder. That's wrong. You only uncover the right shoulder during the 7th tawaf, 7th circulation around Kaaba. This is the only time that you uncover the right shoulder. And then that's for the first 7 round. Al-Raml, this is a speed walking, quick walk, and that's only for the first 3 rounds, inshallah. I hope everybody got that. And in terms of At-Taba' and Raml, it's only for men. For sisters, they don't have to do that. Sa'i between Safa and Marwa. We go to Safa and we will say we start with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started with. Inna as-Safa wal Marwa min sha'airillah faman hajja al-bayti aw i'tamar فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم. This is what we recite when we go over the Safa. We start from Safa, we recite the Quran, inshallah. I will send an email with this dua, inshallah, so you'll have it with you. And you recite it when you go there, inshallah. It's very crowded there, so you are not going to be on the top of the Safa because there is 4 levels now. So the first level only have a little bit of the Safa, and even that they surround it with a glass fence in a way. So you are not going to be able to step on the top of Safa. So you started doing that last year. So, but that's okay, inshallah. You can do that from any level. You start with Safa and you say the dua, and you end with Marwa, inshallah. What you say when you are in there, you turn your face to Kaaba and say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And also say La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. له الملك وله الحمد يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. And then you say لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أنجز وعده ونصر عبده وهزم الأحزاب وحده. Once you said that, you make dua as you like. And of course, don't forget your brothers and sisters elsewhere in the world. Brothers and sisters in Somalia, so you don't have water to drink. Brothers and sisters in Palestine, brothers and sisters in Libya and in Syria and in Iraq and Egypt. Remember your brothers and sisters. Rasulullah ﷺ says, "Man lam yahtamma bi amr al-muslimin falaysa minhum." The one who doesn't care about the condition of the Muslim Ummah is not one of them. And of course, you are in one of the best places to make dua. So remember your brothers and sisters. Make dua for this dunya and the hereafter. A lot of people, they just make dua for this dunya. They want car and kids and houses and money and this and that. They forgot about the hereafter. So subhanallah, remember the hereafter. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala an yarzuqna al-jannah, and admit all of us into paradise, inshallah, with His mercy and forgiveness. So inshallah, this is a summary of Hajj. First of all, ihram from the miqat. The niyyah, the intention for ihram is one of the pillars in Hajj and in Umrah. Remember that. Your intention for ihram is one of the pillars. If you didn't do it, you missed your Hajj or you missed your Umrah. So purify your intention. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our intention, inshallah. Make it purely and sincerely for the sake of Allah. It's not worth it to go there just to show off, or people call you Hajji or whatever. It's not worth it. Believe me. It's a lot of effort. A lot of effort. You spend a lot of money. You leave your family behind and all of that. Make it sincere for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following the beautiful sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you clean yourself before ihram, and If you can't take a shower at the airport to where before you got to Saudi Arabia, you can take a shower at your home before you leave US. This is fine. If you're going to Medina, you don't have to worry about that because you're going to clean yourself in Medina. If you're going to Medina first. If you're going to Mecca first, take your shower at your home here in US and wear ihram clothes before you got to Jeddah airport. So this is a ihram. We're talking about here the summary of Hajj. So we are not talking about the Umrah as we mentioned in Hajj Al-Tamattu. You have Umrah first, and in the 8th of the Hijjah, you wear your ihram clothes and you perform Hajj, and your intention will say Labbaik Allahumma Hajjan, and that's the steps. You know, you do that from your place in Mecca without going outside Mecca or anything. You go to Mina on the 8th of the Hijjah, and then you pray Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha and Fajr in their time with Qasr. Qasr meaning 2 rak'ah for the 4 rak'ah prayers. And Maghrib will always be 3 rak'ah. And then leave Mina to Arafat after sunrise on the 9th. You stay in Arafat all day, but when you got to Arafat at Dhuhr prayer, you pray Dhuhr and the Asr combined with Qasr early for the in the time of Dhuhr. And you spend your day in supplication. And one of the best places, you know, you have here best places to live, best places to work, and all of that. But listen to what Rasulullah ﷺ informed us and give us the secret. Best places to make dua. If you're ready to know what is the best places to make dua, Rasulullah ﷺ informed us the secret of dua of Arafah. خير الدعاء دعاء عرفة. Rasulullah ﷺ informed us the best of dua is dua Arafah. It is not the Laylatul Qadr. Laylatul Qadr is good and everything, but dua Arafah is the best of dua. And he also told us that وَخَيْرُ مَا دَعَوْتُ بِهِ وَالْأَنْبِيَاءُ مِنْ قَبْلِ, and the best that I made dua and the prophets before me. And that's an indication that all the prophets before Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ did Hajj. What is that dua that Rasulullah ﷺ wants us to memorize? Allahu la ilaha illa huwa wahdahu la sharika lah lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And then another narration, he said yuhyi wa yumit wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So try to memorize the dua. Try to say it as much as you can during Arafah, inshaAllah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the dua and accept our prayer, inshaAllah. After that, we go to Muzdalifah at night. We pray Maghrib and Isha and Muzdalifah. Do not pray Maghrib and Arafah. Even if you left Arafah 11 p.m., do not pray Maghrib and Arafah. Because we're following the footstep of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's what he did. And then we stay to Muzdalifah till we pray Fajr prayer. And then shortly before sunrise, we leave Muzdalifah. We go to Mina to throw the Jamarat. And it's only 7 Jamarat at this time for the big one. And slaughter the animals. Most of you give me the money for the sacrifice. So we will take care of that, inshallah. And shave or trim off your hair. And then take your ihram towel off. Okay, now there is 3 action. If you do 2, you can take your ihram clothes off. What is that? First of all, Rami al-Jamarat, throwing the Jamarat on the 10th of the Hijjah. This is number 1. Number 2, Al-Halq aw Taqsir, trimming your hair or shaving your head. And number 3 is Tawaf al-Ifada. If you do 2 out of the 3, you can take your ihram clothes off. Not in order. Any 2 out of the 3, you can take your ihram clothes off. And any 3, if you did the whole 3, then you can have everything, including the intercourse with your wife, if your wife is with you. So these are the 2 things that if you do, you can take your ihram clothes off. So I have some people coming to me the first day of Eid, asking me, brother, did you have the zabiha yet? I said, why? Why are you asking the zabiha? Asking that, well, I'm asking the zabiha because I wanted to take my ihram clothes off. Got nothing to do. The zabiha got nothing to do with the ihram clothes off, because the Hajj Al-Ifrad, which is you're doing Hajj only, there is no zabiha. So that way, the zabiha is not, the sacrifice is not one of the conditions to take your ihram clothes off. But 2 out of the 3, cutting your hair or shaving your head, that's 1. Throwing the jamarat, that's 2. Tawaf al-Ifada, that's 3. If you do 2 out of those 3, you can take your ihram clothes off. You can throw jamarat and then go and have a haircut and wear your regular clothes and then go and do Tawaf al-Ifada. You can go and do Tawaf al-Ifada and then come back and cut your hair and then wear your regular clothes and go and do jamarat after that. So you can choose any 2 and do it, inshallah. Then you go to Mecca, you do Tawaf al-Ifada on the 10th of the Hajj. So this is the A'mal, the ritual of the 10th of the Hajj. And then go back to Mina, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th. Most of the people leave on the 12th. Nobody, very few people stay on the 13th. And last day of Mecca, you will do Tawaf al-Wada', the farewell Tawaf, and then take your flight and go back to US. Now, we will move on, and if you have questions, you can ask it after that. But basically, we talked about the kind of Hajj, and we mentioned that Hajj Al-Tamattu is Umrah plus Hajj, but you do Umrah alone. And then when you finish on the 8th of the Hajj, you wear your ihram clothes and you have to start your intention for Hajj only. And that's what 90% of the people do. Very few people do Hajj al-Quran or Hajj al-Ifrad. Preparation for Hajj. Try to memorize from Quran and Sunnah as much as you can the dua. Learn how to play Salat al-Janazah. After every prayer in Haram, in Medina and in Mecca, you will see a funeral prayer. So learn how to do it. Read about it. How to do the funeral prayer. Learn the etiquette of visiting the grave. In Medina, we're going to go to visit the grave of Shuhada Uhud, the myrtle of Uhud. We're going to go to the Mount of Uhud. So learn what to say when you go to the grave. Learn the Salat al-Qasr, the two rak'ah in the 4 prayer rak'ah. This is Salat al-Qasr. Read about it. There's nothing special, but read about it just to learn more. Be physically prepared and mentally prepared for the Hajj trip. This is not a vacation. Hajj is not a vacation. If you expect that you're going to go there and enjoy your time and sit on the beach, this is the wrong trip for you. Hajj is a worship. It's like fasting and praying and Salat al-Qiyam, and it required physical and mental preparation before you do it. Try to read as much as you can about Hajj. Try to learn about the history of the places, Safa and Marwa, the story of Sayyidina Hajar, what happened when she went there running between the Safa and Marwa, and how Zamzam came about underneath the foot of Sayyidina Ismail, and he was very thirsty in the middle of the desert, and when Sayyidina Ibrahim left them. Learn about the black stone and the story behind the black stone, and the Rasulullah when he sees a tribe fighting, who's going to carry the black stone and put it there. Learn about all of that. It will help you to be mentally fit in Hajj and psychologically ready for such a trip. And do medical checkup if you can. Keep in mind to stay light. Take the heavy stuff, leave it at home. Just take light stuff. Take your medical, the usual medication with you. Do not take valuable. Some people take very expensive stuff with them. Don't do that. There is risk, of course, of losing them. Everything is available in Saudi Arabia, and it's cheaper than here. Keep a $100 bill with you. They like the large bills. So don't have 20s, have $100 bill. If you're first stop in Mecca, then you must have towel before you got to Saudi Arabia, the Haram towel. As I mentioned, the $100 bill for exchange rate. You got better exchange rate, so have that. If you have a belt, you can buy a belt from there. If you have it here, you might use it. Travel belt or Hajj belt, either way is good. Take comfortable clothes with you, for sisters especially. It's very hot up there. And there is air condition in the tents in Mina. But yet it's still hot, you know. So wear comfortable clothes. Take warm jacket with you. Medina at Fajr prayer is a little bit chilly and cold. What else? For sleeping, you might have, you know, if you want, you can have sleeping bag, or if you want a special brand of sleeping bag or something. Then we don't have that. We have just a standard sleeping bag there. But if you want to have a very special sleeping bag with a certain specification, then you can buy it from here with you. Travel pillow is important if you want to have one. Some people, they use the surgical mask. You can do that. For me, it just makes me even more hot, so I don't use it. But it's useful. Some people use it. A safety band for the ihram. Earplugs is very useful for those who doesn't want to hear the others snoring in the tents. Eye cover. You are not staying at the comfort of your home, so you're gonna have some people reading while you're sleeping. So having an eye cover is important. Vaseline is very important for men. You know, with the two towel that typically you will need the Vaseline to help you out, not to get burns, you know, skin burns and stuff. If you want to have alarm clock, most of us have, you know, a cell phone and use the alarm on the cell phone. Make sure your phone is unlocked. So when you go there, you buy a SIM card, and it can work right away. If your phone is locked, then you cannot use it there. Make sure you call your provider and ask them to have your phone unlocked or give you the unlock code. That will help you out over there. You know, we need to have your phone number so everybody connected to everybody. So that concludes the presentation